We just had our summer strategy meeting. It was a very good meeting. You know, we had clergy, community organizations, nonprofits, again, working on making the city a safe city and trying to stop the violence. You know, we recognize June, July, and August are our busiest months, especially when it comes to gun violence. So we brainstorm on a lot of the programs we have, and we brainstorm on ideas that we didn't have. And it was a very productive meeting. And, you know, the mayor talked about all the summer jobs. We're creating all the camps, all the ways we can keep the kids safe over the summer. So overall, the meeting went very well.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of what we talked about was not just policing, but peace walks that we're going to be doing with the clergy and the community, connecting people to services, connecting communities to services, whether it's Boston Center for Youth and Families or the Boys and Girls Clubs, really trying to take some of the strategies that we had last year, that we had a relatively peaceful summer, and how do we institute those programs and do it again. We have another Operation Exit class coming on. We have 56 recruits coming out of the academy in the next 2 weeks, so we're going to get those in the areas of Georgetown, Roxbury, and Mattapan. So really just working with everyone to get on the same page and do the complete outreach to the neighborhood. So I feel good where we're heading into the summer. I'd rather have these meetings now than have the meetings in reaction to an incident that might happen in the street. So,
Mayor, considering the problems that Chicago's having, you can't take this relationship for granted at all.
No, you can't. And I mean, we look at what's happened in Boston over the last couple of years. We've had a reduction in arrests by 25%. This year we've seen a 15% reduction already. So really in a 3-year period, 3.5-year period, we've seen arrests down by 40% almost. In saying that, it's relationships. It's creating opportunities for employment. It's making sure that we have good street workers in the street. It's trying to identify the kids that are the targeted kids or the troubled kids, and how do we continue to work with them, both men and women, girls and boys. Working with the youth league. So, you know, I see what's happening in Chicago. I see what's happening in Baltimore this year. The numbers of homicides are pretty high. We don't want to go back there, and we got to continue to work. And I know those cities are working hard too. The challenges there are, I don't want to say insurmountable, but we don't want to get to that point here in Boston.
Can you talk about what's new this year in terms of programs, services, or expanded this summer?
Really summer jobs. We're trying to expand our summer jobs a little bit. In Operation Exit, we have a class going on in the next 2 weeks. Those are two of the big pieces that we have going on. And then trying to do some more community engagement. I think that's one of the pieces that we every year we add to community engagement. We've changed the hours at our Boston Center for Youth and Families pools and areas where before they used to be out at 7 o'clock. Now they're open till 9 o'clock, and we're just talking to the police department about when these centers open up and when they're closing at night, can we have police presence there so kids feel safe that they'll come to the center and not worried about when they're getting out that they run into problems.
Maybe for the commissioner, but what resources are going to be in sort of the so-called hotspots this summer? What resources will you be devoting to that area?
Well, we talked about in there, you know, obviously we have our gang unit in those neighborhoods to help try to take the guns off the street. We have 56 new recruits who are going to be going out mid-June. They're all going to be deployed to Dorchester, Mattapan, and Roxbury. We have our pedal bikes, and obviously, you know, we'll supplement all the stations with additional help. So we'll stay focused on the hotspot areas as well as on the individuals who are driving the violence, which has always been our strategy. And, you know, but more importantly, we'll be involved in community engagement. You know, we'll be involved with the YMCA, getting these kids, you know, week scholarship at camps, getting them memberships, working with the Boys and Girls Clubs, Boston Center centers, you know, so it's all about keeping the kids busy and keeping them safe. And I know Reverend Gerald's here. Reverend Gerald, do you want to come up? He's a big partner in peace walks and keeping that Dudley Warren Gardens very safe.
I'm certainly honored to be here and certainly to work with the mayor and the commissioner as we try to bring a better view to the community. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes good people of goodwill working together for a better community, and that's what this is all about. And I certainly applaud the mayor and the commissioner for all that they do. They're rock stars when they walk out in the community, and I'm just happy to be in their presence. Thank you very much.
Commissioner, you mentioned that there were some suggestions that came out of the meeting. Can you speak to some of those, and whether any of those be implemented?
Well, I think some of them was just, again, to keep the kids as busy, whether it's keeping the community centers open later, more locations where the police can engage with the kids. Again, all the different camps. So we talked about different ways for the police to earn the trust of the young kids. Get into the summer schools, go to boys and girls clubs. We have a program where we go into the clubs and we let them know all the different tactical, like we bring in the dogs one day, we bring them to the boats, we have the junior police academy. So it was all different ways, and I challenged the group to come up with different ways that we can engage that we haven't tried. And we're going to do a Father's Day walk. We talked about that on June 18. We're looking for the community to help. We're going to do a bike bike safety ride where we're all promoting peace. So we're continually coming up with new ideas to bring us and the community together against the violence in the city.
And you mentioned on the radio today that shootings were up. Can you speak a little bit about what's driving that?
Yeah, year to date, and we just talked about that. Our homicides are right where we were last year. Overall, Part 1 crime is down 10%, but we're up about 14 shootings from where we were last year. Thank God a lot of them were minor shootings. The last 3 we had this week, 2 were in the leg, 1 was in the ankle, but we realized, they could have well been homicides. That's why we have to work together. And one of the biggest challenges I asked everyone in that room was, why does a 16 and 17-year-old find the need to carry these high-velocity weapons? And I really stress we need the community's help to get those guns off the street, because that's what we're seeing now, and that's why I think, we're up slightly on the shootings, but together we got to work to get these guns off the street. There's something wrong when we have 16-year-olds carrying Tech 9, semi-automatic weapons that they can fire off 30 rounds like that. So the challenge in here was work together to get the guns and make this community a safe one for this summer.
Just to follow up there, is there anything though in particular that you attribute the spike to, whether it's gang activity, domestic incidents?
Too many guns. There's just too many guns on the street. I think the bottom line is when you look at what's happening in urban America, we have guns. Every time we try to do background checks on guns, the new president, lifted the executive order from the old president where there was a 72-hour background check. 3 days. That's what we're asking for. Too much access to guns here, and we're looking at doing another summit with the New England mayors. We've done 2 already, but now we have a White House that is pro-NRA, that is pro getting more guns on the street. And I'm not necessarily just blaming them. We have too many guns in urban America. The bottom line, if you go to any city, Chicago, New York, Baltimore, up and down the East Coast, West Coast, cross center, they're going to tell you access to guns is too easy for our young people.
Mr.
What happened in Manchester last night? What happened in Manchester last night, and how you guys are closing up lands down the street?
Yeah.
Right now. Anything change over the north section of town, the garden, before games, before concerts, so
Well,
security in that area expand?
I think obviously you'll see a lot more security out there. First thing I did last night is call the mayor and let him know what was happening and how we've stepped up efforts over the last. First thing this morning, I was talking to Charlie Salucci, head of Fenway Security, Amy Lattimore from the Garden Security. I talked to Don Law today about picking up security measures in and around all the nightclubs. So we've done a lot of outreach in the past after the Pulse nightclub shooting. We've done active shooter training, and we'll continue to work with them to make sure all the venues are safe. But I got to stress, I was talking to Hank Shaw from the FBI Boston this morning. There's no threats to the city with Memorial Day coming. People should go about their business, and we'll step up our security, but there's no threats here. We're all on the same page. We're working together, and hopefully, between the gun violence and everything, that we have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Commissioner, this is going to be a nerve-wracking time with Boston Calling coming. This happened in Ariana Grande concert, in a similar concert venue at Harvard, but it's on the Boston side. Any special planning for that?
Again, we reached out to the managers of Boston Calling today. Obviously, we'll step up some of the visibility both in and out. We'll have our bomb technician and the dogs out there, but, there's no threat. Unfortunately, we live in a crazier world now where people will want to hurt young children like they did yesterday, but you're going to see an increased presence. We're going to work closely with all these venues that have quite quite a capacity. Tonight at Fenway, Thursday night when the Celtics come back. You know, it's going to be a busy weekend, but there's no threats. People shouldn't be afraid to come into the city.
You get a lot of manpower, people being called in.
Yeah, well, again, I don't get into the manpower, but we're going to make sure every event's well covered.
Could you speak strategically about how you can ever secure that soft area before you get into a venue? What do you tell your officers
Well,
about securing that area?
Again, the way we do it with a lot of special events, and we did it with the Boston Marathon bombing, we have Operation SEAL coming, is we set up barriers, perimeters, and we have officers trained in looking for the characteristics of someone who might be carrying a bomb. A lot of our officers have had that type of training, so if we can get eyes and ears a block away on people approaching and do a multi-layered approach, so when they get to the door, they've already had their eyes on it. Those are some of the things we're doing. Unfortunately, you know, what happened last night was outside the security. What you see in airports is happening outside. So we're aware, and that's why we did what we did with Fenway. You know, we had to shut down Lansdowne Street. I know some people were inconvenienced, but the whole idea of ISIS and these groups using trucks and whatnot, that's why we did that. So we're continually trying to stay on top of the threats out there. And I think what happened yesterday, again, makes it necessary to expand the perimeter around this place.
Mayor, anything to add on security at all?
No, I just think the one thing I'll say, if you see something, say something, call 911. If you see something out of the ordinary, let us know. I mean, our police department is extremely trained, and they prevented a pretty horrible accident, something that could have been a terrorist attack a couple years ago. And part of that is by somebody making that first call. So if somebody sees something out there, grab a public safety official or call the police department. We're going to follow up on everything.
They can be done anonymously.
Yeah, absolutely. Just call up, and if you see something, your neighbor, something not right, give us a call. We'll check it out, and rather be safe than sorry. You just never know what you might see, what you can prevent.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks, everybody.